What's been playing out for the last many months behind closed doors in the Congress is now out in full public view. An intense war of words has erupted within the Congress party. Congress leaders, one after another on social media, are now targeting Shashi Tharoor, accusing him of being a mouthpiece for the BJP, even calling him super spokesperson of the BJP. What's this about? Well, the reason they've been targeting Tharoor is Shashi Tharoor, remember, part of that global delegation, made a comment about the 2016 surgical strike, calling it one of its kind. And so the Congress has been reminding Tharoor of previous such strikes and hitting out at the Congress MP. So a fight within the party that's playing out in full public view. Details first in our report.
The rift between Congress leaders and their MP Shashi Tharoor is escalating. Tharoor is now being labelled Modified by members of his own party over his statements abroad about 2016 surgical strikes.
The Uri strike in September 2015, that was already something we had not done before. Even during the Kargil war, we had not crossed the line of control. In Uri we did. Then came the attack in Pulwama in January 2019. This time we crossed not only the line of control, we crossed the international border and we struck a terrorist headquarters in Balakot.
Congress leaders are demanding a public apology, with some even suggesting that Tharoor could be suspended from the party.
क्या ये कड़ी निंदा तक रहेगा या punitive action will be taken against Dr. Tharoor? क्या उनको publicly अपने words वापस लेने पड़ेंगे? Is action now something which will happen if he doesn't take back his words? Because he's also saying that he doesn't have the time for all of this.
See, मैं एक ही चीज़ कहूँगा कि अपने इस स्टेटमेंट को वापस लें और पश्चाताप करें कि भूल चूक हो गई है और अंग्रेजी लिख करके, कंफ्यूजिंग अंग्रेजी और जारगन लिख करके, हम भी जेनू के पढ़े हुए हैं, कंफ्यूज करना चाहें तो बहुतों को कंफ्यूज कर दें, लिख दें, किसका कोई मतलब ही ना हो। साफ साफ बात है कि उन्होंने जो कहा है गलत कहा है, उसको उनको मानना चाहिए। बस मैटर यहीं से एंड होता। बाकी हाई कमान क्या फैसला लेता है, क्या सोचता है, वो आपको कम्युनिकेट किया जाएगा परिस्थितियों के हिसाब से।
But Tharoor is standing his ground. In a post on platform X, he launched a scathing rebuttal, clarifying that his recent remarks were preceded by a reference to several terror attacks in recent years. He noted that earlier Indian responses were both constrained and restrained, respecting the line of control. Meanwhile, Congress leader Pawan Kheda kept the feud going. On X, he posted a highlighted excerpt from Tharoor's 2018 book, The Paradoxical Prime Minister, in which Tharoor had praised the Congress-led UPA for conducting surgical strikes with restraint without politicizing them. For now, Congress leaders say they fully support the party high command if it decides to consider Tharoor's suspension.
Dr. Tharoor has already clarified today that he did not mean that no action has been taken in the past. So the BJP always tries to divide. They won't succeed here. Let them try.
Meanwhile, Jairam Ramesh slammed the government for not answering opposition's questions on Pahalgam terror attack, but his choice of words faced criticism.
आज भी वो आतंकवादी यहाँ वहाँ घूम रहे हैं। ये जो पहलगाम के आतंकवादी हैं, उन्होंने 4 आतंकी हमले कराए हैं 18 महीने में। आज वहाँ यहाँ वहाँ घूम रहे हैं। हमारे सांसद भी यहाँ वहाँ घूम रहे हैं और आतंकवादी भी यहाँ वहाँ घूम रहे हैं।
क्या अब देश की बात करना, देशभक्ति दिखाना, नेशन फर्स्ट सामने रखना, पाकिस्तान का घिनौना चेहरा, आतंकी चेहरा, आतंक की फैक्ट्री चलाने वाला चेहरा विश्व के मंच पर लाना अब कांग्रेस को बर्दाश्त नहीं है।
The BJP has backed Tharoor's India First official surgical strike claim, citing a 2017 response from the Army's Directorate General of Military Operations to a PTI query, which stated that there was no records of surgical strikes before September 29, 2016. As the war of words intensifies, Shashi Tharoor's future in Congress party is now under a cloud. With Mausami Singh, Bureau Report, India Today.
Okay, let me bring in now on this broadcast Rajeesh Sardess is joining us live from Mumbai. Rajeesh, good evening. Before we talk about how we've been seeing this playing out rather uglily, full public view in the Congress, I want to understand from you, Rajeesh, what you think of what Mr. Tharoor said. Do you think he crossed a Lakshman Rekha that warranted, Congress leaders coming out and targeting him the last 24 hours?
Look, Akshita, the fact is that Shashi Tharoor is a man of words. He's also, I would say, one of the few public intellectuals that we have at the moment in national politics. I think when Shashi Tharoor says that, and he's clarified that when he referred to surgical strikes of 2016 and that we've actually struck across the LOC for the first time, he's trying to make the distinction between the wars of 65 and 71 and the specific operations that took place in 2016 after Uri, 2019 after Pulwama, and then, of course, now in 2025. But I think the real messaging that's going on, Akshita, is not in the words. It's not in the wordplay. It's the fact that Shashi Tharoor wants to retain his relevance in national politics at a time when he's been marginalized by his own party, both nationally and Kerala. And the Congress party wants to establish its authority, both in Kerala and at the national level. So that really is the shadow boxing that's going on. I actually think it's a storm in a teacup. Shashi Tharoor is going nowhere, trust me. Neither is the Congress in any mood to suspend him or ask him to leave, as your story seems to suggest. This is classically, Akshita, the communication channels and the conflict management within the Congress systems out of power has broken down. And because of the lack of communication, because there is no conflict management process, every comment that Shashi Tharoor makes invites a reaction from some Congress person or the other. And as a result, there's a lot of noise, which was only embarrassing the Congress further at a time when it doesn't need this kind of embarrassment.
So Rajdeep, you're suggesting that Tharoor isn't going anywhere. Then what is the messaging he's attempting to send across every single time when he praises the Prime Minister? He's done it repeatedly. There's been a lot of controversy over it essentially, but it's not stopped him from continuing to make these comments. If he's not attempting to get close to the BJP or attempting to really leave the Congress red-faced, what is his attempt here? Why is he constantly doing it, Rajdeep, in your view?
To retain his relevance. Shashi Tharoor wants to retain his relevance as a sort of India spokesperson, not a party spokesperson, but an India spokesperson on foreign affairs. That's the role. He would be happier, I think, being India's ambassador to the United States at this moment than being a member of parliament sitting in the Lok Sabha. Just look at what Dr. Tharoor said, and your story reflected that. In his book, Paradoxical Prime Minister, in 2018, he says, the shameless exploitation of the 2016 surgical strikes along the line of control with Pakistan as a party election tool, something that the Congress had never done despite having authorized several strikes earlier, marks a particularly disgraceful dilution of the principle that national security issues require both discretion and non-partisanship. What are we to understand? So Shashi Tharoor said one thing in 2018, one thing in 2025. Naturally, the Congress has every reason, therefore, to question him. But I think Dr. Tharoor wants to rise above the din of Congress versus BJP and establish himself as the India spokesperson at this moment, thereby retaining his political relevance. I am told he has already made it clear to some of his friends he's not going to contest a Lok Sabha election again. So come 2029, he won't contest from Thiruvananthapuram. That gives him 4 years. He wants to use these next 4 years to establish his relevance in national politics. And certainly as long as the Kerala elections are there next year, he will have one eye on that in the hope that if circumstances so turn out, maybe he will be seen as a face of the Congress. Having said that, I think that's very unlikely now that the Congress will project Tharoor as its face for Kerala. But this is about Shashi Tharoor battling for relevance and the Congress High Command trying to establish its authority. And the result is rather unseemly, as we are seeing.
No, but Rajdeep, you did say Congress has every right to, respond to Tharoor. But do you think the manner in which they're doing it is correct? The fact that you have some senior Congress leaders calling out Tharoor on social media, it kind of sends across a message that the High Command has no control, that you've got this fight playing out in full public view on social media for everyone to see.
Absolutely, and that's the point I made at the very outset, Akshita. The fact is, Congress's communication systems and conflict management or conflict resolution mechanisms have broken down. So therefore, it's a free for all. One day Udit Raj can say something, one day some other leader from Kerala will say something else, and there is no control. And dare I say, there are Congress leaders, all you have to do is put a mic in front of them and they may well say something contentious. I call it the ANization of political journalism. Someone comes in, says something, it becomes a controversy, and the Congress doesn't even have the capacity anymore to control it. Because when your high command is weakened, then that makes it that much more difficult to control the narrative. I can tell you for a fact that Salman Khurshid, for example, who's gone on this delegation, was among those who said, look, I don't need to go. I will first take clearance from the Congress High Command. But there were others who said, even if the Congress High Command doesn't allow me to go, I'm going. Now, that would have never happened 20 years ago. Today, the High Command possibly doesn't have the same control over any of their major leaders. And therefore, it's become a bit of a free-for-all. And that embarrasses the Congress party and again sends out the wrong signals.
That's true. The strategy perhaps of the Congress High Command to simply look the other way doesn't seem to be really doing the party any favors. Thank you very much, Rajdeep, as always, for joining us here at Super 6 with your perspective on all that's playing out right now in the Congress camp. Now, let's tell you the exact sequence of events here. How did this happen? What triggered it and how did the Congress respond? It started with Tharoor speaking as part of that global delegation, speaking about the 2016 surgical strike, which he referred to as a first of its kind and hailing it, essentially hailing not so much the government but speaking of India's action against Pakistan. Now, it's over this comment that the Congress has lashed out. Congress has in fact gone ahead and rather publicly rebuked Tharoor. You had Udit Raj starting it, calling Tharoor super spokesperson of the BJP. Pawan Khera, Jairam Ramesh, two extremely senior Congress leaders, then actually endorsed Udit Raj's comment. That's what sparked off questions about whether the Congress leadership also now is miffed with Tharoor. But right after that, Shashi Tharoor took to social media, put out a long post where he hit back at his critics saying, look, I was referring to the 2016 surgical strikes as being an incident that really set a precedent against Pakistan. He also said, I have better things to do than to respond to these critics. Pawan Khera, senior Congress leader, right after Tharoor put out that clarification, shared an excerpt from Tharoor's book, The Paradoxical Prime Minister, to taunt him, saying, I agree with Mr. Tharoor. What did he agree on? He agreed essentially on that excerpt from Tharoor's book where he called out the BJP, accusing them of politicizing the 2016 surgical strikes. But what's happening within the Congress camp right now? I want to bring in Moushami Singh on this broadcast, who's been tracking the latest that's coming in from the Congress right now. Moushami, has the High Command stepped in? Have they intervened? Have they doused this fire that's been playing out on social media? Or are we going to be seeing more taunts, barbs, jibes playing out?
Hear me, Akshita. The thing is that, this has been brewing for some time now. The meltdown artist Shashi Tharoor actually contested Congress president's election, challenging.
We're just going to fix that connection with you and then come back to you. Give me a couple of minutes. We'll come back to you. In the meanwhile, let me just put the spotlight on how Shashi Tharoor's Congress journey, particularly in the last 10 years or so, has been rather controversial. Let's begin from 2014. That's when you had Shashi Tharoor being removed as the Congress spokesperson. Why? Because in an article, he had praised Prime Minister Modi, referring to Modi as an avatar of modernity and progress. He was pulled up by the High Command. The leadership even removed him as a spokesperson. At that point, when this action had taken place, Shashi Tharoor had accepted the action taken by the High Command, but also defended himself, saying, no, I did not praise outrightly Prime Minister Modi. Then in 2022, remember that there was a group called G23 senior Congress leaders who called for organizational changes after a string of losses for the Congress. Shashi Tharoor was part of that grouping. But mind you, many of the Congress leaders who are part of this group left the party saying we wanted change, it didn't happen. Shashi Tharoor remains in the party. Many would say he's remained 3 years on, completely sidelined. It was in the very same year after the G23 pushed for change that you had Congress president elections also taking place. Mallikarjun Kharge was of course the chosen one from the Gandhis, so he got overwhelming support. But interestingly, Shashi Tharoor also contested that election. And many believe that it was here that the Gandhis kind of saw red, did not like the fact that he chose to contest against Mallikarjun Kharge and the fact that he got over 1,000 votes despite having no approval from the Gandhis. There was no stamp of approval for him. The Gandhis clearly chose Mallikarjun Kharge. Despite that, the fact that he got 1,000 votes did speak volumes of the fact that Shashi Tharoor enjoys a certain popularity within the Congress party. That didn't bode well for him though within the party, as the leadership was clearly miffed. Many reports have suggested that even post that, when Shashi Tharoor has sought additional responsibility, when he's met with Rahul Gandhi to even seek a role in Kerala Congress, all of that was outrightly shot down. But listen in to Congress's Udit Raj. He's been the most vocal perhaps against Shashi Tharoor. He's repeatedly demanded that Tharoor apologize for his 2016 surgical strike remark. Here's an excerpt of his conversation with Preeti Chaudhary.
You're saying that Dr. Tharoor has become a sycophant of the Prime Minister and the BJP. First question, is this the personal view of Mr. Udit Raj, or is this view now shared by a political party?
See, forget about personal view or party view. I have laid down certain facts. What is concluded out of that facts, that when Mr. Trump humiliated our Prime Minister, then he also stood. And at the time of Pahalgam, in case of Pahalgam also, he tried to defend that. Of course, security lapse is a routine thing. Whereas this area was area of special watch, where was the police, where was the CRPF, where was the BSF? What does it show? That you are psychopath?
सर, मैं फिर एक सवाल पूछती हूँ कि क्या ये कड़ी निंदा तक रहेगा या punitive action will be taken against Dr. Tharoor? क्या उनको publicly अपने words वापस लेने पड़ेंगे? Is action now something which will happen if he doesn't take back his words? Because he's also saying that he doesn't have the time for all of this.
See, and मैं एक ही चीज कहूँगा कि अपने इस स्टेटमेंट को वापस लें और पश्चाताप करें कि भूल चूक हो गई है, और अंग्रेजी लिख करके, कंफ्यूजिंग अंग्रेजी और जार्गन लिख करके, हम भी जेनू के पढ़े हुए हैं, कंफ्यूज करना चाहें तो बहुतों को कंफ्यूज कर दें, लिख दें, किसका कोई मतलब ही ना हो। साफ साफ बात है कि उन्होंने जो कहा है गलत कहा है, उसको उनको मानना चाहिए। बस मैटर यहीं से एंड होता। बाकी हाई कमान क्या फैसला लेता है, क्या सोचता है, वो आपको कम्युनिकेट किया जाएगा, परिस्थितियों के हिसाब से बताया जाएगा आपको।
Now let's run you through several leaders who were part of the Congress and then quit the party. We're not suggesting at any point that Shashi Tharoor is about to do that, because he has a number of options, and as you heard from Rajdeep earlier, it does look unlikely that at this point Tharoor is going to quit the party. But there have been several other senior leaders who've chosen to take that step, saying we've given up on attempting to change how things work in the Congress. Jyotiraditya Scindia was, of course, one of the prominent names who quit Congress, joined the BJP. And that's because he claimed that in Madhya Pradesh, the Kamal Nath government failed to fulfill promises. There was, of course, a lot of buzz that Jyotiraditya Scindia wasn't really given his due in the Congress. Another big high-profile name, Himanta Biswa Sarma, who also joined the BJP. And remember, when he had quit the Congress, he put out a detailed post where he said he was insulted by the Congress High Command, particularly naming Rahul Gandhi. Himanta Biswa Sarma now is, of course, Chief Minister of Assam. Amrinder Singh again joined the BJP. Veteran Congress leader, many people never thought he would actually leave the party. But he claimed again that the High Command ignored him repeatedly, humiliated him in Punjab. Jitin Prasad again from the Congress, joined the BJP, now of course in the Uttar Pradesh BJP with a very important role. He said that there's discontent with people, that Congress is not able to address some of the concerns of the people, and so he decided to jump ship and join the BJP. RPN Singh also had left the Congress to join the BJP. He, in fact, was very clear that the reason that he did that is because many of his aides, his associates, weren't given tickets in the UP elections by the Congress. They were ignored, they were sidelined. A miffed RPN Singh jumped ship. Kapil Sibal is an independent Rajya Sabha MP, was previously with the Congress. Now remember that he was part of the G23, which I was referring to, the group that saw changes within the party. And so he said that he was left out of key decision-making meets of the Congress, which is what prompted him to take that decision of leaving the party. Ghulam Nabi Azad, and mind you, these names that I'm giving you are all extremely senior leaders, veterans who are part of the Congress for decades together. Ghulam Nabi Azad left the Congress to establish his own party. He again said that he was insulted and that he was sidelined by Rahul Gandhi. He said that he was never part of any of the crucial decision-making meetings, despite being a core team of the Congress for so many years. Milind Deora, another very articulate face of the Congress, left to join the Shiv Sena. He maintained that he did this to support the path of development, that what he wanted to do, the changes he wanted to bring, aligned more with the BJP than with the Congress. Ashok Chavan cited personal reasons when he left the Congress and joined the BJP, never really gave details of why he chose to take that step. Then there was Baba Siddiqui, another leader in Maharashtra, who unfortunately, of course, was killed recently. He joined the NCP, Ajit Pawar faction. He claimed the reason he did that was he didn't feel he was needed anymore in the Congress. Let me bring in Maushmi Singh. We've got that connection back with her now. Maushmi, take us through what the Congress High Command is doing right now. Have they intervened? Are they ensured that there's no more public bickering that takes place?
Clearly, Akshita, if you see the way matters have turned, really tricky between the Congress and Shashi Tharoor. I remember that it wasn't long ago in the Congress Working Committee meeting when, Shashi Tharoor was asked whether he breached the party line. And then after that, this delegation goes, Shashi Tharoor's remarks are continuously, there's a thought of the Congress are causing a lot of embarrassment to the Congress party. And there's more than what meets the eye because, on policy issues, on issues where, the Modi government has been very, very, the Congress has been very critical of the Modi government. You have Mr. Tharoor, heaping praises. And perhaps there is a thought in the Congress that only after the delegation has come back on Indian soil, the brainstorming and the Congress Working Committee meetings could see Tharoor being cornered yet again. There's a disciplinary committee. There is a thought that perhaps he could be issued a notice in terms of making statements on surgical strikes. But for now, the Congress doesn't want to fan the entire row for the fact that he is on foreign soil. He is leading a delegation, and it's a matter of putting up a united front, even if it is coming at the cost of a lot of embarrassment for the party within.
It's a little late for that, isn't it, considering what's played out right now and the fact that you've had senior Congress leaders calling out Tharoor now to take a stand saying, look, he's part of a global envoy, a delegation that's putting India first. It's a bit late for that narrative. But thank you very much, Maushmi, for joining us. From what Maushmi is telling us now, it looks like we're not going to be seeing this kind of a public spat. But perhaps when Tharoor returns, there could be some step taken with regards to the comments that he made. But don't be surprised if the Congress just chooses, the High Command chooses to look the other way as they have been for the last many, many months.